Hey guys, what's up? I'm finally back. It's been a few months now, but I'm back here today with a Dragonmaid profile, and right now I'm after playing this deck online for a little bit. I finally built it in real life, and right now I'm testing an extravagance version. I honestly think the Dragon Link version with all the combo cards is a lot better. You can end on way better boards, and I mean rocket cards are just insane. LP not being banned here makes a big difference. A big difference. If you were in the OCG or if we were playing OCG format, it's obviously better to play it with less combo cards because of the introduction of Maxi and the lack of LP. But anyway, it's really beside the point. Let's just get started here. We got 3 of each good Dragonmaid, so these are the good ones. They are just they're the best ones you want to see in your opening hand, and the reason that they're good is because they both get to the fusion spell, and they can also both get you to a revive, so they can both make spheres if you don't open a level 5 or higher dragon to go along with them. So spheres is kind of like the best turn 1 play in this deck. I'd say you really want to end on spheres. It's just so good. Like, spheres in a control deck is just so insane. It's unreal. This is another pseudo starter. So you don't really like drawing this one, but she's okay. And in the late game, she can like search stuff. I don't know. She's honestly not great. She's like the most cuttable of all the Dragon Maids, which is funny because she was the most expensive for a while. But yeah, this card's not great. You search for a monster and then discard a monster, so it doesn't really get any plays started. And when you're going second, it's fine. Anyway. It just kind of most of the time just acts as a weaker version of the green one, because the green one just dumps any card, including spells and traps, which is why it's so good. Nurse is a great one of. You never really want to draw her because she requires grave setup, and this is a trap deck, so we don't really like those kind of cards. But like when you get to summon her off Seal, it's just, it's so plus. It's so plus. Then right now we are playing one of each big dragon that is good, because of course you're not playing the water one because you don't play the water level 2, because that card is, well, it's just not good. Sorry, Laundry. None of their effects really come up. This one is pretty good against Zoo, actually. You can prevent their Zeus and Trident from activating preemptively. And I just wish it would negate the card. Then it would have a lot more applications if it actually just negated it, because continuous effects can be annoying. And then this one is a really bad extender, but sometimes, so it can come up. So, and then of course we play the best hand trap ever, Gamma and his friend. Gamma's really insane in this deck. So a lot of the times, like I said, your end board is Seal. And a lot of the time they'll try an Ash Seal or get around it with like a monster effect, a Gamma of their own, and then you can just Gamma because the last monster you had on board was Seal. Another reason Seal is so good is because it puts a normal monster on board, and I'll show you why that's so good in a sec, but just keep that in mind. Play 2 Bell and 3 Ash. So, Bell is really good this format, just in general, but I think in this deck, because you're so weak to Ice Dragon's Prison, you just can't afford to not play it. It's also really good against Aquero. It negates Preparation of Rites, it negates Nadir Servant, it negates Invocation if they don't have Meltdown on the field. That doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's clutch. It can negate Sanguine, because it can summon from Grave as well. And this is kind of spicy, but and also kind of bad, but I think it's fun. I play 1 Phantasme. Now, he is not that great this format, I'll be honest, his in-hand effect. But the decks he's good against, he's actually super good against them. Invoke Dogmatica, he's very strong because he prevents punishment, and punishment can just ruin your day. So I really like that about him. And the reason I'm only playing 1 is because so the Dragonmaid trap can bounce any dragon, and you can summon him off of Seal. So in the grind game, most of the time you just run out of dragons to summon with Seal that do anything, because you've gone through every monster in your engine. so you can just get to Phantasmate to have an extra interruption. And I think it's fun, so playing one. Anyway, for the Dragonmaid spells, we're going to go on here. We play 2 Hospitality, 1 Changeover. Now, Hospitality in this deck isn't... Well, I mean, it's crazy, but it's highly searchable. You have about 1.5 million ways to get to your chamber. But the worst hands in this deck is where you just don't open the green one or chamber, so this doesn't really add to those hands. Changeover is the fusion spell. You really don't need more than one. Sorry, I got the hiccups. You really don't need more than one. You can win without fusion summoning most of the time against a lot of decks. And sorry, I shouldn't say that. So what I should say is you don't have to fusion summon in order to win. A lot of the time you can just seal, bounce every card they have until they lose. Like, honestly, because you can really OTK them in this deck with the big dragons. So Changeover being at 1, it's highly searchable, so that's a reason to have it at 1. And then also you can add it back every time, and if they do banish it, that's what I was trying to say earlier. If they do banish it, you're not screwed because you can still make Seal, and Seal will just win you the game. Alright, Extravagance. I'm playing basically 3 of every important card. I'll show you in a sec, but this card's just insane. It gets you so far ahead when you go first. So I'm playing kind of a package right now that's really popular. You guys might have seen it, but it's 3 strike, 3 TT. So strike and TT right now are just crazy because when you go second, you can set them, and then if your opponent tries to extend into an OTK, you can just wait until they have enough damage or until they make access code. Torrential, they activate a negate effect, or you strike. And then they can lose from then on because they'll be forced to maybe go into battle phase and then you get all your effects or this, and that. And then also going first, obviously, Torrential is just a humongous blowout. A lot of the time, this deck has a really easy way of recovering from Grave, so, like, Torrentialing your own field isn't a big deal. Yeah, so, cards just insane in this deck. That package is so good. A card I really like in this deck is Dinomischus. So Dinomischus allows you to banish any card on the field, obviously, but also produces a normal monster. So, again, we'll get back to that in a sec. So we play 3 Tidying. This card is insanely good. Oh my gosh, like the reason to play Dragonmaids. But anyway, it's an interruption, so it's a bounce for your opponent's card, any card. So it can be their back row as well, like at the end phase you can bounce a back row. And then it also returns your dragons, so you get to reuse unsummon effects. This is the card that would return Phantasme, like I was saying earlier. And then when it's engraved, you can banish it to summon back a Dragonmaid, so it floats too. It's just insane. And then one downtime. This card is not good to draw, but it's a personal spoofing, basically, like an Altergeist, and it's searchable, so you really don't need to play more than one, because you can just search it when you need it. Downtime also just destroys Virtual World. You just keep bouncing their spells and traps when they target them with the monster effects in hand. So you play 3 of each Fusion Dragonmaid. So when you resolve Extravagance, what you're kind of looking for is as long as you have at least 1 of each of these. The ideal thing, if you were to banish multiples of either of them, is you want to banish 2 of this one and 1 of this one. Because ideally you want to have 1 show and then as many houses as possible. It's more important to have the houses in the extra deck than it is to have the shows, but show is just so good that you kind of have to play it. Show recycles herself, which is why you really only need 1, but house can only recycle herself if she is properly fusion summoned. You can bring her back with chamber, but most of the time the only one you're actually fusion summoning is show, because house by itself doesn't really do that much, so you kind of just want to fusion summon show. So 3 spheres, like I'm saying, I'm playing 3 of every important card, so Seal is pretty much the best card in this extra deck. Like, it's just hands down so crazy. In a control deck, the ability to have an interruption plus a follow-up play into another follow-up play is just so insane. Just so insane. So one Striker Dragon, we're not playing Boot Sector, but this is a Link 1 Dragon that allows us to do what we want. So like, if we were playing LP here, it would basically do the same thing, but it would lock us to dragons, which we don't want all the time, so. And then, like I was saying earlier, we play, or with the normal monsters, like I was saying earlier, we play an Imduck. So Imduck is a dragon that you can make with a normal monster. And the effect to attack something could come up, but mostly it's just there to turn either Driver or Dynamiscus into a dragon. And that's all we care about. And we can summon all our world chalices from hand, you know? No, we're not doing that. Anyway, we got all 3 nightmares that are good. Yeah, these cards are just generically useful. You generate a lot of an empty advantage in this deck, is what I like to call it. Like, you have a lot of cards in hand, you have a lot of monsters in the field, but there's not much to do with them. And this deck also just struggles outing cards in general. Like, destroying cards on the field is not something this deck does easily. So all of these cards are just kind of like good to have. And then, of course, this card's amazing. It's like the best boss monster, man. It's so easy to make. He's huge, and him by himself with any other Dragonmaid on field bounces to hand and gets you a 27 beat stick at the start of battle phase. So that's 8,000 exact. He's just great in this deck. He puts in all the work. Again, like, this deck struggles with destroying cards, and you know what he does best. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile, guys. Let me know if you guys want to see like a Dragon Link version. I can definitely throw that together. That's pretty easy. So, all right, peace.